Hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Jill Shankar. I'm a board member and a dog walker and a foster parent here at Rescue Village. And we want to send out a special thank you to Subaru of Painesville and the ASPCA for sponsoring our first ever virtual adoption showcase event. So right here, I'm standing with Erin Hawes and Becca McNish. Becca is our development director and Erin is our, what are you again, Erin?
Shelter manager.
Shelter manager, thank you. They are going to kick off the event and tell us all about why they're here and why this event is so meaningful to us and the animals here at Rescue Village.
Sure. Thank you so much, Jill. All right, so this is the first time we've ever done anything like this, and we're really excited. We're going to, over the next 2 hours, showcase about 16 dogs in our care, as well as do some interviews with our department heads, and you guys will get to learn a little bit about everything we do here at Rescue Village. We are, our building may be closed to the public, but we are open. We are doing adoptions. We have our pet food pantry. We're helping animals in need in our community, and we're really excited, and we're so thankful to Adventure Subaru for helping us showcase our animals here at Rescue Village today.
Just an extra special thanks again to Adventure Subaru for making this possible, for ASPCA for getting the animals here, some of which we're showing today. So for all of you who are ready to adopt, get ready. We're about to see some great animals. For those of you who aren't going to adopt, click the link below to donate. And for the rest of you, enjoy learning about our programs today. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, ladies. So first up is Summer French. She is our adoption supervisor. She has just been promoted because she is fabulous and she has excellent judgment and she always looks for the good in people. So Summer, I'm going to hand it off to you. Tell us how the adoption process works and what you're looking for when you're making matches.
Thank you, Jill. So I'm Summer. I'm the adoption supervisor here at Rescue Village. So basically we're going to be showcasing a couple dogs for you guys today. They are not on our website. We wanted to give you kind of a sneak peek at our dogs and just showcase them to you guys that are joining us. Basically what's going to happen is when you see our dogs, you're going to go onto our website and you're going to submit an application. You go to rescuevillage.org, you will go to adopt, you'll go to the dog application, you'll fill one of those out, and starting tomorrow we'll give you guys a call back. We'll review them. It is based on first come, first serve, so you don't have to worry about having fenced in yards or anything like that. We don't really do restrictions like that, which is really a good thing. We'll review it. We'll give you a call starting tomorrow, and then if everything, if you guys, answer, we'll go over all the, information that you need to know. We'll counsel you, and then, answer any questions you have. And if you are still interested in one of the dogs, we will have you set up an appointment to come and meet with the dog. We prioritize safety here, so we do require masks. We also require that people have no access to the building, so we are going to do our meet and greets outside. Basically, if, when you come to your appointment, if everything goes well, you get to take that dog home that day. So put in the specific dog that you want after you see them, and we will start calling you guys tomorrow. We do require meet and greets for any resident dog that you have, so when you come for your appointment, you will also come to meet them. Your adoption application will, or your adoption fee will vary. It depends on the age of the dog, and your adoption fee will include that the dog will receive a Geauga County dog license, a microchip. Your dog will be spayed and or neutered, will receive age-appropriate vaccinations, a coupon for a free exam and worm check at participating vets, and one of these really cute goodie bags. So we're really excited to see you guys. Like I said, we will go over all the restrictions or anything like that the dog may have when we give you a call. But other than that, I hope you, enjoy, these adorable dogs that we have.
Summer, what's an example of a restriction?
So an example of a restriction may be kids. Maybe the dogs don't get along with cats or other dogs. So we'll be able to go over all of that based on the behavior assessments that our dog behavior specialist has come up with.
And also, is there anything that would automatically disqualify the humans from being able to adopt? What if somebody's in a wheelchair, for example?
Nope, we do not. We won't disqualify anyone for that. We will try and make a good match as possible. So if someone is interested in, it might not be a good fit either. So maybe like a child, if the child is too young and the dog, has some kind of resource guarding issues, then we might say, hey, this is not a good match, but we're not going to automatically deny someone.
And what's resource guarding?
Resource guarding is going to be anything that a dog will resource guard or will protect, such as food or a toy, even human, maybe the couch. So it just kind of depends.
So a dog might be a little snappish.
Yep.
If he's trying to guard.
Yes.
Okay. So we want to keep those kinds of dogs away from kids.
Yep.
Probably.
So we'll come up. Our dog behavior specialist. He is great. He does an assessment to kind of make sure that the community is safe and that our dogs and the people are going to get a really good match.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you, Summer Friend.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Okay. So Summer has been talking a lot about our dog behavior coordinator, and that would be Will Zaslavsky. Will, where are you? He's coming up behind. So.
Hello.
Hi, Will. So, before we get started talking about the process, tell us a little bit about you. What brought you here? What do you love so much about the dogs? And Will is amazing. He has a heart that is as big as gold. He is strong and courageous. He handles very difficult dogs sometimes. But Will is also very patient and kind, which is a remarkable combination. We're so lucky to have him. So tell us how you got to be that way, Will.
Well, you're too kind, thank you. So yeah, my name is Will and I'm the behavior coordinator at Rescue Village. I've been here for just shy of 4 years. Prior to that, I worked at other shelters in 2 different states. So I've worked at Humane Societies in Baltimore, Summit County, and I also trained as a private trainer on the side. So my passion has always been rescue, and that's how I ended up here at Rescue Village, which is a wonderful place, and we do a lot of good things here. So the purpose of this event is to start to promote some of our dogs as well as debut some new ones. We're very thrilled to be partnering with Subaru, and we want to thank them for the opportunity to allow us to do this. And so I think without further ado, I'd like to start introducing some of our dogs here. All right, so our first one is Skittles, which is going to be coming from my right. Skittles is a 10-month-old little pup. She's probably a pity mix. It's safe to assume that she is. If there's ever any doubt, we really like to throw it out there that there is potential. There she is right there. Just so that there's no surprises and that people can prepare just in case with insurance reasons and other things like that. But she has been an absolute sweetheart. She passed her temperament test with flying colors. Very few restrictions on her. We would like her to go home with slightly older kids, maybe 6 and over, just because she's a little bit shy. But she's an absolute sweetheart. This dog is, we've socialized her with other dogs before. We have a feeling she would do well with cats. We haven't tried, but if you do have a cat, we'll be happy to cat test her for you.
Will, tell us, what is a cat test?
Oh, sure.
What does that look like?
Sure. So we're kind of limited by the environment we're in, so we can only really give you our best estimate. And the way we do that is we have a couple of very confident cats in the building that tend to hang out at the clinic. So what we typically do is we'll bring a dog on leash to meet the cat. We will gauge from a distance just how the dog does, and then if we see that the dog is receptive and loose and not really fixated on the cat, we'll bring him a little bit further. So that will give us a decent idea of whether or not the dog is really prey driven, in which case we typically try to avoid sending them out into an environment with a cat. It doesn't mean that it can't work out, but it's certainly an extra obstacle that we want to avoid just to set them up for success the best we can.
All right. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Bye,
So,
Bye, Jane.
bye Skittles. So our next little pup is going to be Winnie. So come on in, Winnie. And Winnie is another just adorable pup. Just like Skittles, she came from the ASPCA transport. They came here on the 13th of October, and she is about 6 months old. Now, Winnie, even though Jeff is doing an amazing job with some of the obedience training, Winnie is going to need quite a bit of work. She's definitely one of the more energetic puppies we have. So in her case, we have a kid restriction that is slightly older. We would like her to go home with kids that are only 10 and older. The reason we do this for dogs like her is because, especially at this point in time, it's really crucial that they get the structure and the obedience work that they need, which can get a little difficult when you have a hectic environment with a lot of kids running around. Puppies, just like kids, they want to run around and do what they want to do. So if you really want to get the behavior the way you want it, it takes a quiet, sort of structured environment to get them there. However, she has been in play groups. She loves other dogs. She has been amazing. Volunteers love her. We haven't had a single issue with her at all whatsoever. So whoever gets her just needs to be prepared to do a little bit of obedience work, just a little bit of training, and she's going to make a wonderful pet for somebody.
Will, how big do you think she'll get?
Oh, that's a good question. So without knowing the parents, we really just take our best guess. In her case, she's already 6 months old, so she still has quite a bit of growing to do, maybe up to another year. However, just given by her current proportions, I don't think she's going to get too much bigger than this. So she's going to fill out. She might get a little bit taller, but I don't think this is going to be a 100-pound dog. She might top out at, maybe 60 pounds, and she might not even get that big.
And how much is she now?
So that I don't have. She looks like she's in the 40 range, low 40s. Yep.
She'll gain another 20 pounds.
Yeah. So she'll be a nice medium-sized dog. She's not going to be too large, and she's definitely not going to be a small one. She already isn't. Yeah. And then, Jeff, is there anything that you could add about her, if you'd like?
Oh, she's just the most beautiful dog here we have, and very cute. She's learning. She's got a lot of energy, that's for sure. But she's learning. She's learned to sit really quickly, and she catches on. So
very smart pup and very food motivated, which makes things a lot easier. When you can get their attention on a treat like this, it makes the obedience work go a lot smoother. So if somebody really puts the work into her, she's going to be a good dog in no time. Huh. All right, thank you so much. So next on our list we have Sassy. Come on in, Sassy. And Sassy came from the same transport as Winnie, so she also came in on the 13th. She is about 7 months old. Our best guess is she is a lab mix. She definitely has those ears, but once again, not knowing the parents, it can get a little tricky for us to really tell people what the breeds are. So we put that caveat in there every time. This is our best guess. However, once she grows up, she could have different proportions and she could look like something else entirely. So in her case, I really think she is a lab mix. And you could tell she's definitely on the thinner side. So this is a puppy that could definitely use a little bit of extra food. We don't have many restrictions on her at all. However, another caveat I want to throw in there is that when dogs are skinny like this and you have really small kids, we really want to make sure that the dog gets comfortable eating in their presence without the fear of losing their food, because dogs like this tend to be a prime candidate for developing issues like resource guarding. If they're already very intent on getting the food and people start messing with it and taking it away, these are the kind of dogs that usually start running into those problems. So these are easy things to avoid, but it's something to be very mindful of. But she has been an absolute sweetheart. If anything, she's been a little on the timid side, but that's nothing unusual for dogs that come into a shelter. It's a very stressful place for dogs. So everything we've seen out of her here, she is great with other dogs as well. She loves romping around with them. Don't have anything to say. We haven't tried her with cats yet, but once again, if you guys do have cats, just let us know in advance, and we will test them for you, and we'll let you know if we see any red flags or anything to look out for. And we will also be happy to guide you through the process and also after the adoption. If you guys have questions, you're welcome to call. I'll be happy to give any behavior advice and guide you guys over the phone. So she is going to be up later on this day, so yeah, keep an eye out for her. Thank you. Bye, Sassy. Well, I got more treats. Come on. There we go. Oh. Sassy needed some enticing. Yep. So, our next one will be Dolly. And Dolly is 3 years old, and I'm going to tell you the story behind Dolly. It's actually a little bit sad. So Dolly is actually, she was a puppy when she got adopted from us, and this was about 3 years ago. She got adopted from us with her sister, Polly, who we also have. Unfortunately, Polly seems to have some allergy-related skin issues that we're trying to resolve, and so she will not be available today. However, if possible, our goal would be to send these two girls home together. So even though Dolly's going to go up today, if you guys are interested in her, it would be awesome if you kept an open mind about adopting her sister as well. And, oh yeah, they look identical, by the way. Almost the same. Polly has a little bit more white on her face. But she's one of those cases where they got adopted together and they live together their whole lives. So they're kind of relatively dependent on each other. So it would be great if we could find them a home together. However, like I said, Polly probably won't be going up, at least in the next few days for sure. Yep, 3 years old, and they are completely full grown, so they are done. Their downsides that we've seen here are they are both very strong pullers. So if you're out on a walk, I definitely recommend some equipment like maybe a sensible harness or a gentle leader. The best thing to do would obviously be to invest in training and some loose leash walking. That would be great. But they're otherwise really good girls. They do relatively well with other dogs. They have not really been socialized with other dogs well, so they kind of tend to keep their distance. But they certainly tolerate them. They hang out with other dogs here, and yeah, we haven't had any problems with them. Volunteers love them. Michelle, do you have anything to add about Dolly?
I know she loves attention. She likes you to pet her, and I said when I walked her, as long as you have a treat in your hand, she'll stop what she's looking for, and she's starting to walk much better, I think.
Good.
Yeah, she loves attention, and she's starting to sit too.
Good. And that was a great point Michelle brought up. They're very much people dogs. So if you want a dog to sit by your side, Polly and Dolly are going to be the ones to do it. They're very much into people. They want to be around them all the time. Okay. So thank you. Our next one is going to be Peanut. And so as soon as Dolly leaves, and Peanut is my personal favorite pup that we have right now. So, come here, girl. Come here. Good girl. So, Peanut is about 4 years old. She came to us as an owner surrender. Very nice people found her as a stray. And unfortunately, the mother of the household had allergies. So she surrendered her to us. When she came here, she was a really, really nervous, really submissive dog. And so once again, being that this is a shelter, these are exactly the kind of issues that we really try to work on when they're here, because shelter is such a scary place. When they're fearful already, it tends to make things worse on them. So Peanut, she definitely has some issues to where we do put some criteria on her. She would have to go home with much older kids, so 16 and over. We would prefer she not go home with another dog, even though we do have her in playgroup and she gets along with other dogs. There are certain circumstances where she's prone to getting into scuffles. So in order to really, really minimize any sort of obstacles that people face and set her up for success as best we can, we would really prefer for her to go as the only pet, and that way people can really, really devote the time to her that she needs. Her issues are, once again, she's a little bit fearful. So with people that she doesn't know, she can be either a little bit evasive or, in some cases, reactive. So she did get adopted one time, and she got returned the next day. And they did have another dog. They got into a scuffle. And so the next time she goes out, we really want to make sure we set her up for success. So once again, her criteria would be no kids, and we'd love for her to be the only pet. But this dog is a total cuddle bug. And once again, if you want somebody on your lap to sit on the couch while you watch TV, Peanut is the one for you. She's also extremely goofy, loves toys, loves squeaky toys, and she'll be a blast. So whoever gets her is going to be a lucky person. So a little bit of work is going to pay off in the future. But she is certainly one of the staff favorites right now. Ah, baby girl. Yeah. All right. Thank you. All right, so I think right now we're going to cut away for a brief interview with our Humane Agent, Christian Courtwright.
Great. Thank you very much. Sure. So Christian, there you are. Christian is one of Rescue Village's secret weapons. Can you stand in front of the table? There you go. Christian is the one that is a liaison between Rescue Village and the community. So not only is he looking out for the animals, but part of his job is really to look out for the animals, but in so doing, he also is looking out for the people. The community is sometimes troubled based on what's been happening, and Christian is the eyes and ears, and he can match people with resources and really takes 10 extra steps to get the people and the animals what they need. So we are very lucky to have Christian. Christian, thank you for doing everything that you do. So tell us a little bit more about how you manage your day.
My days usually consist of responding to complaints of animal cruelty and neglect in Geauga County. These calls can range from simple dogs outside with no shelter to larger concerns like animal hoarding.
Animal hoarding, what is that?
That would be somebody who has more animals than they can reasonably manage. And when we have cases like that, we usually go with...
But they might just not be able to manage the animals that they have, right?
Correct, yes. In most of our cases, we don't go in aggressively. We don't go in there with a bend towards law enforcement at first. It's usually try to figure out what the issues are, work with the people to try to get them in some sort of compliance to where they could be better caretakers for the animals. And most of our cases are resolved that way.
So your goal is to keep animals and people together to the extent that you can. It's only when somebody or something is suffering or not being taken care of, that's when you have to intervene.
Yeah, most of our cases are resolved through education, where we make them a better pet owner. We put them in touch with resources that we have or resources outside of our organization that might help them take better care of the animal. It's only if the case is so severe where education would be inappropriate, or where education fails and we have to take the next step and involve the courts and the more law enforcement side of the job.
Can you give us an example of something that you did recently that had a happy outcome?
Well, recently, I guess just this week, we had an injured dog that was on a property. The owners were unable to provide the medical care. In fact, they were even unable to even capture the dog. It was their own dog, but they couldn't even catch it to tend to it. I was able to go out there and talk with the owners. They agreed to surrender the animal to us, and I was able to use my training to capture the dog and bring it back here where the medical staff saw to his medical needs.
Now, so when they surrender an animal to us, does that mean that once we treat the animal, we put him up for adoption?
Yes, yeah, we'll work with the dog, whatever medical needs he has. We'll work with the dog with whatever behavior needs it has, and then once it goes through all of that, it'll hopefully have a happy ending where it'll be placed up for adoption.
All right, well, I think everybody can see, thank you, Christian, how lucky we are to have Christian with us.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Christian. All right, next up is Andrea Giorgio, our foster and trap, neuter, and return coordinator. Now, Andrea and I have worked together some because we foster animals. And what I know about Andrea is that she can juggle about 10,000 balls at once. She does it with kindness and with a sense of humor. And she also, among those 10,000 balls is about 150-ish foster families, and she has placed over 400 animals in foster care just this year. So Andrea is, like everyone here, amazing. And so Andrea, tell us how you keep yourself organized and what keeps you coming to work every day.
Coming to work every day is not only the culture at Rescue Village, but what I do, helping people and animals, building those relationships in the community, and placing our animals in foster care. It's my passion, and I couldn't imagine doing anything else.
Now, as a personal aside, we just took home a foster cat that is terrified. And one thing that means so much to me, as it does to all of our foster families, is how much care and patience that Andrea and her team give to these animals that are uncomfortable because they have just been removed from their homes for one reason or another. For example, their humans might have died, the humans might have gone into hospice care, or they might have lost their homes. There's all kinds of reasons that animals can find themselves here. Andrea helps figure out where they can go, that they'll be safe and protected and loved for the rest of their lives. She helps them find their forever homes, and when that's not possible immediately, then the 150 plus foster families can step in. So this foster cat named Patches that we took yesterday is so afraid that he won't come out of his crate. But Andrea, so she treats the cat like it's precious cargo, like everybody is precious. And that's what makes Rescue Village what we are. I mean, it really is incredible because it can be difficult dealing with animals that are scared or hurt. so to have the patience and tenderness that it takes to take care of them is really something. So Andrea, thank you. Really, thank you for doing that. What else would you like to add about what you have here right now? What's it looking like foster care?
Yeah, so foster care wise, right now we have about 36 animals in foster care. If anybody out there watching is interested in fostering, we recruit year round. Our foster orientation process is very easy and convenient. You can complete that on our website at any day or time that works best for you. Coming up next, we're going to have videos of some of our dogs in foster care, starting with a dog named Gidget. And then we're going to see a video and pictures of Tasha, another dog in foster care, and then Roy.
Before we do that, Andrea, do you want to say a thing about the Trap, Neuter, Return program?
Yes, so we hold a Trap, Neuter, Return TNR program for community cats who are living outdoors twice a week. You can, if you're caring for outdoor cats who need spayed neutered or you need some advice on trapping them, you can go ahead and log on to our website. You can fill out a TNR application that gets automatically sent to me, and I will be in touch with you from there. We do about 40 some community cat surgeries a week, so we can thank our clinic staff for that as well. They do an incredible job with all the cats that come through the TNR program.
Thank you, Andrea. It takes a village. All right, so Gidget.
I am Jen, and I am Gidget's foster mom. And we've had her for about 3 months now. As you can see, she's really, really energetic. So she's looking for a home where somebody can spend some time with her and keep her busy. The nice thing about her, though, is in the house, she's actually super sweet, and she relaxes and hangs out on the couch and watches TV with us. And she's a great little companion.
We are here today with Jeanette and Jim and Roy. They are fostering Roy and having a super good time with him. And I'll let them tell you all about him and how he is in the home.
This is Roy. He's actually our first foster dog. And we are incredibly happy with how calm he's been and how easy it's been to take care of. I was a little concerned at first because he's a big guy and I don't really know English bulldogs, so I didn't know how he behaved, but He's so friendly and gentle and well behaved. It's so obvious that he was in a home at one time that cared for him and loved him and trained him, because he really knows how to behave in a home. This is his best buddy. Yeah, he really loves him.
Yep, Roy and I get along really well. He's a good watchdog, so when anybody comes to the door and knocks, he'll give a little bark, kind of a low voiced bark, so you know that they're there. But other than that, he really doesn't bark at all. We've taken him on walks, both on the street and in the woods. He's really good with other people. I usually keep him away from other dogs just because I'm not sure exactly how he's going to react. And he's very quiet, actually, getting by the dogs. Yeah, a lot of dogs, other dogs, trying to bark and carry on. Roy he knows who he is. And, he knows that he's not going to be intimidated by the other dogs. So, yeah.
What's your guys' what's his favorite activity?
He kind of goes along with what we do. So he likes walks in the woods. He doesn't like the street walks that much. We do have him some toys. He's got a couple of squeaker toys. One's a squid, one's a raccoon. So he'll kind of bounce around a little bit, and
he'll toss them around a little bit. Yeah, sometimes he gets a little playful. Other
than that, he is a really calm dog. So he likes to, when we're in the family room, he likes to sit right by us, likes to get his ears rubbed, chest rubbed. That's probably his favorite activity. Yeah.
So what would you say his ideal home would be?
In our home, it's just adults. I sometimes wonder whether he would like a little bit more activity. Maybe he would be fine with a kid. Not too crazy. I wouldn't want him. I don't think he'd really want that much more activity. So he's been really good for us. I'm not really sure.
It's hard to say that he doesn't need necessarily a lot of exercise. He's not like really high energy. He's collie that'll drive you kind of crazy. He's very calm. Seems to be a very good family dog in the sense, kind of like a lab or something like that, that is protective, good with people, and he kind of knows who he is, and it's not really super either.
By much, yeah.
No, he's not afraid of anything. Thunder, vacuum cleaners, he's fine.
Yeah, we had a thunderstorm. Slept through it.
In the house, we just lock in there in his crate, and he'll go in his crate sometimes. Usually he's just on his bed.
At 10 o'clock, he'll go on his bed anyway. It's like, okay, time for me to go to bed.
That's bedtime.
Yeah.
She's looking for a home with adults where she can blossom and again be that light of your life. She's been with us for about a month and a half here, so she's definitely ready to find her forever home. Super cuddly though.
And how old did you say she is again, Candice?
She's about 3 to 4 years old.
And do we know where she came from before?
So she came into us from transfer?
She was Ashtabula APL. Yeah, and I believe she came in on the 13th of September.
Now, tell us, why would we get pet animals in from another animal protection agency?
So we do our transports a lot with other agencies. We help them out when they find themselves with too many animals. We're there to help them out by transferring some of those animals here to us. Once they come into us, we get them medically ready and they go up for adoption, like Coco here.
All right. Okay, thank you. Will, do you have anything to add about Coco other than the fact that she obviously loves you very much?
Extremely sweet, loyal. She will be a Velcro dog. So she will be the kind of dog that's not going to want to leave your side. So once again, she has a few restrictions, but that's something we can discuss if you guys are interested. But she's a very, very sweet girl.
So just, can somebody with kids, would that work?
Older kids are one of her restrictions. Also some animal ones. She's another one that could really benefit from some good socializing, a lot of obedience work. From the best we can tell, she probably really never got an opportunity to be worked with in any kind of productive way. So being 4 years old, she has a little bit of catching up to do. But she has all the potential to become a really great dog for somebody. So if you're looking for a companion, she's it.
One of the great things that Will does when we get animals in here that haven't had the benefit of a lot of training is he works with them to the extent that he can while they're here. So he often is able to make a tremendous progress with them so that they are able to be adopted and go home into their forever homes. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Candice.
Thank you.
Bye, Coco. Next up is our intake and transport coordinator, Dee Dee Dicesare, and I'll tell you a little bit about her before she comes in. She'll tell you more about what she does, but she is one of the people that is the first to lay eyes on the animals that come into Rescue Village. So once she takes them in, she is able to identify whether they need medical treatment or whether they're likely to be ready to go up for adoption soon. But she funnels all the animals to where they need to go. Hi, Dee Dee. Now, who do you have here with us?
I have Belle. Belle is not available for adoption yet, but
Okay.
she's just waiting for her turn.
So I was just telling everybody how you manage intake. So why don't you use Belle, beautiful Belle here, as an example of what you do.
So yes, Belle is a perfect example. As you've seen, a lot of the dogs who have been out here so far have come from different places. Some are owner surrenders, some are from our national transports. Belle is one of our local transfers. We work with some local shelters who sometimes have too many dogs in their care and they need a little help, so they reach out to us, and if we have space, we will go and we'll pull some of their dogs and bring them here, spay, neuter them, give them whatever medical care they need, and then they go up for adoption.
Now, why isn't Belle up for adoption yet?
She needs to be spayed.
She needs to be spayed.
Yes.
So that's something that we do with every animal if they're not already fixed, right?
Correct. Yes. No animal leaves here without being spayed or neutered, and that is a problem that some of our local shelters in the area have. They don't have veterinarians on staff, so their animals are not spayed or neutered as quickly as we can do that here, and so they sit in their shelters for longer periods of time.
Why is it important for everybody to be spayed or neutered?
Well, because there is a huge overpopulation of animals and pets that do not have homes. And in this area, it's not as prevalent as in the south, which is why a lot of times we are transferring so many animals up from the south, because their spay and neuter programs have not seemed to have caught up to what we have going on here.
So spaying and neutering really can be a matter of life or death for the pets who are out and about, maybe having to live on the street. The fewer animals that are out there subject to predators and starvation and disease, the better. That's why it's so important that we spay and neuter everybody that comes through our doors that isn't already spayed or neutered.
Absolutely.
What do you love most about your job, Dee Dee?
I love being able to see every animal that comes into the shelter. I am basically the gatekeeper for everyone coming in the door. So I see the kittens, I see the puppies, I see the adults. I'm able to assist the humane officer sometimes with the animals that he brings in. So I just love being able to meet every single animal that comes into the shelter.
So what we're learning here from Dee Dee is that not only do we love our animals, but how very important our people are. The people make Rescue Village what it is. We are a village of people and animals. And but for our people, we would never be what we are today. Thank you for what you do, Dee Dee.
Thanks.
All right. All right. Summer French is coming back to us. Summer, what are you going to tell us about right now?
Hi, Jill.
Hi.
I'm going to kind of give you guys an update about the surveys right now.
Wait, what surveys?
So the surveys, or like the applications that people are sending in.
Oh, we're already getting applications in?
Unfortunately, we haven't had any yet. So the dogs that we've already showcased are up on our website.
Okay.
Also, the link to the applications are in the comments. So please, start, filling out those applications. This way we can get these awesome dogs homes. They truly deserve it. No one wants to be stuck in the shelter. As much as we love them and we try to enrich their lives and everything like that, the shelter is no place for an animal. So, please, submit these applications or surveys, and let's get you guys a new best friend, and let's get these dogs home. So thank you.
What is it so stressful for the animals when they're here in the shelter? Because people here are kind to them. They're eating. They're protected from the elements. Why is it hard for them to be here?
So there's a lot. You have to think, we don't know where a lot of these dogs sometimes come from. Sometimes they come from other shelters, sometimes they're owner surrenders. So their entire life, what they know is sometimes uprooted. You have to think, even going to like the first day of work or a new school, it's so nerve-wracking. And that's the same thing for these dogs and cats and the barn as well. They have feelings, they have emotions, and it's scary here. Listening to all the dogs bark all day, all night.
Although they don't always bark all night, it can be quiet at night.
It could
right?
be quiet. Yep. So it's
any little commotion can set them off. So it can be frightening.
So we do try to enrich their lives. We have play groups. We do enrichment toys, like food puzzles. So we'll the pet store makes these toys where you can hide food in like little compartments, and the dog will have to try and search them out.
That keeps them from getting bored also, right?
Yep, and destructive and things like that. So we really do, if I can say so myself, I really do think they are really, really well taken care of here. But like I said, they need to find, a good loving home where they can, be let out on a more frequent basis, and they can just get all the attention, that we can't always just provide for them.
So when I say it takes a village, it takes people like Summer and everybody else that you've met. It takes the amazing animals, and it takes you. You make up part of our village too. So we thank you for everything that you've done in the past and everything that you will do for us in the future. Adopt, donate, become a foster parent. There's lots of different things that you can do to get involved.
And share our information.
Share our information. All right. Thank you, Summer.
Thank you.
Now, Summer mentioned play groups. And here comes fabulous Will back to explain to everybody what a play group is and why it's so important. And then we'll see a few more dogs.
Hello again. So yeah, play group, at least I consider it to be one of the most important forms of enrichment we have. Once again, being in a shelter, the downsides are immense here. The dogs they're in their kennels for very long amounts of time. Their social needs are not met. Once again, they're just surrounded by stress and anxiety. So not only are play groups a good way to relieve and alleviate some of that stress, they also give us a lot of good information about the dogs. They tell us how social they are, how well they interact with other animals, and we also kind of see if there's any issues around people when there's animals around. So a lot of really good information. And on top of that, it gives us the opportunity to build on their social skills. So when they're here and we see that they're a little bit timid or there's just a little bit of quirks here, we can always put them in a complementary play group to help them sort through some of those issues.
Will, tell us more. How do you organize a play group? How do you decide who goes in what play group? And then what do you do once they're in there?
Well, every dog that comes through is a candidate for play group. Like I said, I really consider this to be one of our best tools to alleviate the stress and really set them up for success and give them the best quality of life while they're here. So every single dog is at least going to be tried out in play group. The vast majority of them we continue. If the dog isn't quite as social as we'd like them to be, like I said, we tweak the play group to where we pair them with the dogs that will teach them the good skills, as opposed to putting them with dogs that are could scare them more or actually deteriorate their skills a little bit.
So how many dogs might you have in any one play group?
Oh, anywhere from, if it's a very unstable play group, we might just have 2 dogs, but we can have 12, 15. It really depends on how many dogs we have and, how social these dogs are. So
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, so there's really no limit and no, obviously there's a 2-dog minimum, but how the dogs are doing, and I feel it's my job to really steer them in the right direction and make sure that all the right behaviors are being reinforced, and we want to eliminate any opportunities for them to establish bad behavior patterns.
So weather permitting, you might bring the group of dogs out here in this very play yard, right?
In this very play yard,
And then what would you do with them if they're here? Would you throw them toys to play fetch with, or how do you handle them together?
Resources are definitely one of those things that can cause contention unnecessarily, especially if the dogs aren't very well socialized.
So I'm sorry. So a resource could be like a tennis ball or a stick, right? Or food.
So food, anything, any object that the dog wants to claim. It could even be sleeping spaces, things like that. So yeah, anytime you give the dog something that they feel like they might want to protect and they're afraid to lose, that's definitely gonna hinder the bond and hinder the relationship building. So we eliminate all of those things, and here we focus on letting the dogs interact with each other. We want them to speak dog with each other and figure out how to problem solve without any of those extra things that could cause hurdles.
Now, you don't mean that we never play with tennis balls with the dogs, only in play groups.
Oh gosh, no, yeah. Yeah, our volunteers and our staff members, the dogs all have toys in their kennels, so the dogs have toys all the time. But like I said, this is really, I consider this our time to socialize the animals and to really build their skills so that when they go out into the home and into the community and they encounter other dogs, they're better prepared to deal with that situation.
Now, Will, what else is in their kennel besides those great toys?
So we have, they all get really nice stuffed blankets, except for the ones that maybe eat them, and then we worry about obstruction, so we might tweak things on them. But they have toys, obviously water. We also leave, our other forms of enrichment include long-lasting treats, such as Kongs. We'll stuff them with peanut butter, dog food, freeze them, and so that's something that the dogs can work on overnight or just for a period of time when they're in their kennels, just to give them something positive to do.
So with a Kong, the idea is to give the dog hours and hours and hours to lick the peanut butter out of it, right?
Ideally, most dogs, it doesn't last hours and hours and hours, but but it certainly it keeps them occupied for a period of time, and it takes their mind off the fact that they are confined by themselves in a small space.
All right. Anything else to say about playgroup, Will?
Just that I really encourage. When you guys adopt your dog and your puppy, it's really important that you start on day one to get them to socialize them properly. I always encourage getting some professional help, so maybe puppy classes, trainers that do large groups, things like that. But if you go on for a period of time and you don't really get the dog socialized, then that's where people encounter problems usually.
All right.
So yes. So coming up.
Thank you, Will. All right.
Yep, so
Tell
coming
us
up,
about Hashbrown.
we have Hashbrown and we have Lolita coming.
Oh, all right.
So these two girls are sisters. They don't need to go together. Matter of fact, it's probably better that they don't go together. But they came in on the same transport from the ASPCA. They're about 6 months old. Hashbrown is a little bit more on the shy side. So one of her restrictions is slightly older kids. Once again, we want somebody with a softer, calmer approach to help coax the dogs out of their shells, as opposed to a more hectic, high-traffic environment. Lolita is a bit more outgoing, so she doesn't have that same restriction, and they are both very, very dog social.
Well, tell us about Hashbrown's tail placement.
Oh, yep. So these are the things that you want to pay attention to, and this is one of the ways that we gauge the dogs. Obviously, we do our temperament test here, but judging body language is really how you keep yourself out of trouble and keep the dog out of trouble. So right now, this is not a dog that is comfortable. Obviously, her tail is tucked. Everything about her is saying, I'm submissive and I really want to diffuse the situation. You can tell she's looking around a little bit frantically. She's really not sure where she is or where she should be. So her stance is very tense. She's definitely leaning her weight on her. So these are all things that we look for, and when we see these kind of signs, this is not the time where we want to pursue whatever it is that we're doing and push the dog further. The way to really be successful in desensitizing dogs to new things and introducing them to new things is going at the dog's comfort level. And if we were to do things where she would be continuously exhibiting the sign right now, we would in effect just be stacking stressors to where we would pretty much set her up to fail. So what we want to do anytime that we start forcing things on her, we want to make sure that we slow down and we go with the dog's comfort level. So once she starts getting a little more comfortable, then we can push it a little bit further.
Now, in contrast here, we have Lolita. She looks a lot more comfortable, right?
Perfect contrast right here. So you can see the tail is up. The dog is moving around in a very loose manner. The dog is very soft and very eager to interact with everybody. So this is how you see the difference. This is a much more outgoing dog right now than this is. Not to say that this is by nature how they are, but in this environment, in this situation, she is definitely a lot more on guard.
So that's actually a really important point. What we see here in the shelter isn't necessarily the nature of the dogs. Tell us more about what people might expect once they get their dogs home.
Yes. So this is actually an ongoing problem that shelters have, because different dogs react differently to different environments, in different environments. So a lot of the stuff that even we test for here during our temperament evaluation, there has been science that comes out to say that these things don't necessarily transfer from one environment to the home. Because this environment is so different and so hectic and chaotic, you could easily have a dog that resource guards here because of all the other dogs here. It might feel a little more competitive. And then once you get them into a quieter, environment in a home, you don't see those issues. And vice versa. We still do the temperament test because it does give us a lot of good information, but we tell people to take everything with a grain of salt because it's not necessarily what they're going to see at home.
So, Will, if an adopting family got an animal home and whatever reason they felt like they had bitten off more than they could chew, what are their choices and options?
Well, I always tell people, please call us early on. If you're starting to see problems or things that concern you, it's usually very easy to tackle early on. Once behaviors become patterns and they become a habit, that's when it's a lot harder to really counter-condition the animal. So we ask people, please call us, and usually if they call us early enough, we can guide them over the phone, and the fixes aren't that difficult. Once they wait a few months or longer, it becomes a little trickier, at which point I have gone to people's homes for our dogs and just to see if we can resolve the problem and help them train at their house. I'm on the phone all day long with people, just try to troubleshoot and help them out over the phone. We also we have other training facilities that we recommend that do reward-based training that we really that we encourage that philosophy. And of course, the final resort, we will always take our dogs back. If something didn't work out, we ask that you do return the dog to us. We know the dogs, we know what they need, and so we'll be able to do what's best for them in the future.
So Rescue Village always sends our animals, whether they're dogs, puppies, kittens, cats, pigs, horses, whatever. Our adopting families always have the choice of contacting us, or we want them to call us back, tell us how it's going, if they need help or tips or whatever. We want to be able to provide our adopting families with that information so that the relationship can bloom and blossom. Now, Will, what is this telling you right here?
So this is a great behavior to flag right here, because this is usually when people say, oh, she wants a belly rub. This is the textbook submissive behavior right now, where the dog does want to interact. However, she is very uncomfortable. And what she's doing right now, she's flipping over on her back, and she's telling you, I don't want any trouble. Please don't hurt me. And in her case, she is a sweetheart, so giving her a belly rub she was perfectly fine with. And some dogs, that's how people get in trouble, because they really misread that body language. When a dog flips over like that, that does not necessarily mean they want a belly rub. It could just mean that they're scared and they're telling you, please, I don't want any trouble, back off. And if the warning isn't heeded and when people keep moving forward, once again, that's usually when incidents happen and when dogs get into trouble.
So is it okay to interact with them gently and quietly, just to maybe rub their scruff or to just touch them gently, or would it be better when a dog does that to just sit with them?
You always, I hate to give blanket advice like this because you always go on a case-by-case basis. In some cases, a dog would just kind of plateau in that position and you would have to move a little bit closer and do it. But I always tell people, as a rule of thumb, if you can get the dog to come to you, do. If you have to come to the dog, now you're dealing with extra issues, and you have to ask yourself why. Why isn't the dog coming to you? Usually the dog has a good reason.
See, look how she's coming to Will.
Yep.
All the dogs love Will.
And that's because I'm ignoring her. Yep.
All right. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Lolita.
So
Thank you, Hashbrown.
Moving them over to the side. Once we introduce everybody, we'll let them off.
Oh. All right. So actually, I don't know if everybody heard that, but Will said that once we introduce everybody, we're going to let them off leash. So that might be something to stick around for. But in the meantime, you can always push that donate button.
So now, we're very excited to debut our two wolfhounds that we'll be putting up and making them available today. And once they come in, we'll tell you a little bit more about them.
Will, tell us about the wolfhound breed in general.
So these two guys, this is a mom and daughter, Mia and Olivia. Mia's the mom. She's about 9.5 years old. And Olivia, this little tan one, she's about 4 years old. And
she's tiny, isn't she?
And she's very small compared to that one. So she is actually not a purebred wolfhound. She is a wolfhound Anatolian Shepherd mix. And then mom is a purebred wolfhound. So we actually got 4 of these guys from the same home. Very, very under-socialized. So we've been working with them. They came in on September 29th. So we have been working with them since then, and today is actually the first day we're putting these two up because we feel they made sufficient progress, and they are looking to interact with people now. and they're doing way better on their walks. They were really struggling with leash walking when they first came in, terrified of everybody, didn't really want to interact with dogs or people, and they did a remarkable turnaround.
This is one of the things that makes Rescue Village 2 are again.
She is 4, and Mom is older. She's 9.5. And we do want to get these guys out as a bonded pair. We would like them to go home together. They are really dependent on each other, and as fearful and under-socialized as they were, we expect at least a fair share of that to be carried over into the home environment. So this is really going to speed up the process of getting them to come out of their shells if they do have the other one to fall back on.
Now, how much do they weigh, do you think, roughly?
So I believe Olivia is right now in the 115 range. Give or take a couple pounds, and I want to say Mia is in the 120 range right now.
Now, do you think that they would like to sit on people's laps?
I think they're big teddy bear lap dogs, yes.
And how much do they eat?
So right now we have them all on about seven cups of dry food mixed with wet. And
7 cups per day or per meal?
Per day, so about 3.5 per meal. Mixed with wet food. As scared as they were, we had to really entice them to get them to eat. So in the beginning, we're kind of giving them some goodies like hot dogs and cheese and stuff like that.
So hot dogs and cheese they were getting, is that something that we could give people at home or dogs at home too?
So that's something to always check with your vet as far as the diet goes. But it's also, once the vet clears it, that's something that they can call me or get their own trainer and discuss it with them, because you don't want to get your dogs on a diet of just, of those things. So you really want to make sure that you discuss how to wean them properly and get them switched over to the diet that you want them to have.
All right. Will, do you want to say a word about the other 2 that we have that aren't ready for adoption yet, or do you want to just focus on these 2?
So the other 2 are going to be her sisters. So they are both 4 years old. They're also Wolfhound Anatolian Shepherd mixes, and they will also be a bonded pair. Now, the other restrictions are as fearful as these guys are. They will need a home with a fenced-in backyard, a full physical fence, because there's a very good chance that you're going to have to, they'll regress a little bit with their leash walking, so you might just have to let them out in the yard for the first week or 2. The other, we would like to avoid small kids being in the picture, because once again, these are the kind of dogs that need that quiet, calm, predictable environment to start coming out of their shells. And if they don't get it, it's usually when dogs either take longer or sometimes they'll plateau entirely. But once again, if you guys are interested, that's something that we will go over thoroughly once you fill out an application.
And then Will, of course, is always available for questions once the animals come to your home.
Always. Mm-hmm. All right. So, yep, we can move these guys over to the side too. And
thank you, guys.
Next we have Gunther.
Gunther.
Yep. So this guy's a treat.
Tell us about Gunther.
Gunther, he also came in on the transport on the 13th of October. He is, looks like a purebred German Shepherd right up until the ears. And then the ears somehow never made it up. And so this is what we get right now. He's a beautiful, beautiful dog, absolute sweetheart. However, he is a puppy, so he's about 10 months old. And, he's got that puppyish, mischievous side to where he wants to explore and investigate everything. And he's another one that's really going to need some heavy socializing and some obedience work.
Well, tell us about his tail also.
Once again, this is kind of an environment that we haven't exposed him to before with this many people, so he's a little bit unsure. So once again, this is something that we want to respect and accommodate. We don't want to push anything on him, and we're just going to kind of let him hang out and come to people at his own pace and not really force anything on him, because he's telling us right now that he's not really comfortable. Once that tail starts going up like it is now, it shouldn't take him long. Then that's going to be telling us that he's ready for a little bit more.
How much does he weigh?
Oh, he's in the upper 70s. He's I want to see 76 or 78.
And what's your sense of how he might be with kids?
I would definitely encourage older kids with him, because he is a kid himself. You're going to have your hands full with him trying to get in your sock drawer and counter surfing. So he's definitely a dog you want to get on the obedience training on day 1, because all of his puppy energy is going to come out once he gets into a home. So he's very smart, very trainable. He just needs, once again, some of that structure and some basic socializing. But yeah. I don't know. We can't get those ears to stay up, but he's otherwise great. All right. And then last but not least, we have Sailor.
Sailor is coming.
Yeah. No, you can say it.
Now, Will, some of these dogs you keep mentioning have come in on a transport. What state did they come in from?
So this last one actually was divided up between 2 states. We have relationships with shelters all over the country, so Atlanta, Alabama, Mississippi, and others. I believe this last one was divided between Mississippi and Alabama. So I want to say these guys are Mississippi dogs.
Okay, they came from the Mississippi. Yeah, so I think it was Dee Dee that mentioned the fact that some of the southern states, their spay and neuter programs are not as robust as they might be. As a result, some of their shelters end up being overflowing with animals, and that's why we end up taking them from such distant shelters. So now tell us about gorgeous Sailor.
Oh, Sailor is an absolute sweetheart. Once again, loves other dogs. Very good with people. Once again, a little bit on the shyer side. Nothing that concerns me, but it's something that we tell adopters to keep an eye out. And once again, you need to acclimate dogs like this to new things in a very structured, very soft, gradual way. Because it's very easy to overwhelm a dog in one sitting. And that's what we want to avoid, because that's usually when the dogs start making bad associations, and that's when you get little behavioral quirks developing. She is about, what do we have, Red? 7 months old, I believe? Yep.
7 months old, little Sailor is.
7 months, because once again of her shyness, we do recommend older kids. If you have younger kids, still feel free to call. There's always exceptions to be made, but it's something that we would have to go over and kind of guide you guys into properly introducing her to the kids' friends, to new environments, all of that.
So the issue with a shy dog, Will, tell me if I'm wrong, is that if they're shy, they tend to get scared easily, and then they can easily get overwhelmed and not interact with people the way we would want them to. Is that right?
Sure. So when it comes to people, the biggest problems we see is miscommunication. Kind of like we saw Hashbrown rolling over on her back, and most people finding it adorable and seeing it as an invitation to go and pet her. These are the kind of things that usually cause problems.
Wait, why does that cause problems again?
Because what the dog is telling you is please back up, and to get us to approach them softer. So the things that we find adorable, like the big eyes and the ears going back and kind of sitting there, those are the behaviors that we see. And we think it's cute, but the dog is really trying to tell us I'm uncomfortable with the situation. So these are exactly the kind of things that I show people in real time, and I guide them into how to appropriately behave. Because it's the smallest things that people don't even think about, such as eye contact and accidentally leaning over and hovering over a scared dog, that can get people into trouble and that can really hinder her progress.
Now, Will, everybody that's come out here, and you also, are feeding these dogs a lot of treats.
We sure are.
Why are treats useful? What do we use treats for?
So treats are obviously a wonderful reward. If we see a behavior that we want to reward it, we want to mark it, we want the dog to understand what we want them to do. So treats are a really good way of rewarding if they do something well. It's also a good way of redirecting their attention so we can steer them to do what we want them to do, as opposed to being focused on something we don't necessarily want them focused on. Treats are a great way to reward dogs, as opposed to, let's say, attention and playing and petting, because those are all things that can easily overstimulate a dog. Treats are more or less a way for a dog to reward a dog, but still have them calm enough and just wait on the next treat.
Now, if you have a dog at home that you want to use treats to encourage certain behavior, how do you manage the food intake so they're not getting too many treats?
Yep. So that is once again something to discuss with your veterinarian. Just dietary needs or any potential medical issues that the dog might have could affect these things. So I would tell people to discuss with their vet what amount is appropriate, what kind of treats are good, and how to cut back on the actual food if need be. Or in some cases, if it works, we can actually use the food itself as treats and space that out during the day for the training exercises.
Now, even for big dogs, or Sailor is not that big of a dog, but the treats can be tiny, tiny little pieces, right?
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't matter to the dog. It's still exciting, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Don't just give them a full hot dog when they sit. Something this size is more than sufficient. They're getting something. They understand that this is a reward. And that way it'll keep them from ballooning and getting an upset tummy.
So this little treat that Will just gave Sailor is the size of his thumbnail, basically. It's tiny.
Yep.
But look how happy she is.
Absolutely. So yeah, these are all things that if you adopt and you are interested, I really encourage people to call me and ask me these questions because once again, not only can I tell you the general rules, but we can discuss the specific dog and what I've seen works for that dog.
All right, thank you so much, Will, Sailor, and Chris. All right, we are going to move into playgroup. Will, what would you like to say about that?
So yeah, we are going to start. We're just going to let all the guys that you just saw in this last segment, we're going to let them run around and play together. So you can expect, they've been together a couple times. Some of them might be a little bit nervous, but for the most part, they've all hung out together, so they should get along pretty well.
So,
I would say take the leashes off.
So understand too that Will is here to supervise in case anything happens that becomes scary or dangerous for the people or the animals.
Yep.
And here they all come.
Yep, and rule of thumb for us is we try to remain as neutral as possible when the dogs play. Once again, just like we don't want resources involved, we don't want ourselves involved as well, because the dogs might gain confidence from us or they might feel like they want to guard us. So this is strictly the time for the dogs to interact with each other. But this is the most crucial part of enrichment that we have. This is really when the dogs get to decompress and they get to build their skills.
All right, thank you, Will. This is also a great time while you're watching, is you can push the donate button and make a donation, or you could submit an adoption application if you've fallen in love with somebody. I was like, what do I smell?
Well, anytime you come more. Come on, Erin, you're the boss. Oh, we're done with it?
No, not I just want to turn it off while it's
Oh, well, I do that on my computer, yeah.
See what I mean when I talk about how amazing Rescue Village is? Will is an amazing resource, as are all of our other people. We don't just have dogs, though, and puppies. We also have cats and kittens. And we're going to throw it over to Wendy Grellinger, our cat behavior coordinator, to show a video of some of the adoptables we have on the feline side.
Hi, my name is Wendy. I run the cat program at Rescue Village. Basically, my job involves getting to know each cat that comes into the shelter and looking at their history, if we have one, and trying to determine into what type of home they'll do best. Production right here, this is Gremlin. I believe Gremlin's about 6 months old. He is very playful, but he's also very affectionate. If I were to stop playing with him right now and sit down on a nice comfy couch and call him over to me, he would just want attention, but he's really comical. Gremlin will do great with kids of all ages, other cats, and cat-friendly dogs. He's really a nice little boy. I have Lucy. Lucy, at times she's a little bit talkative, but not overly talkative. She's very friendly. Obviously, she's cat-friendly. She's living with 2 other cats right now. She'd be a great lab cat. Let me see how Lucy does with the toys. Hey, Luce, need more about attention and getting petted? Definitely. So, obviously, Lucy is cat-friendly. She probably would do fine with a cat-friendly dog, and most likely fine with kids of all ages. Good girl. Okay, and Jane. Hey, Grandma, you go over to that one. That's what I brought in too. And this is, Jane is a confident cat. She's comical. She's very playful. She's very friendly. She's also cat-friendly. She'll also do well with a cat-friendly dog. Gremlin, this is supposed to be Jane's turn to play. And she's a gorgeous tiger. And walks on 2 legs. Yeah. Lucy says, I don't want any part of this. Good job, Jane.
Sailor and I are back with Adrianne Johnson and back with Candice. Candice has a chicken in her hand, in case you were wondering, and Sailor is off now doing other things. AJ is our barn program manager. Many people don't even know that Rescue Village has a barn, so AJ, tell us all about that.
Thank you so much, Jill. Yeah, the Rescue Village barn program is pretty special and unique. We're the only humane society in Northeast Ohio that has a barn program. We help horses, pigs, chickens, ducks, you name it, that end up in humane case situations. So you guys heard from our humane agent earlier, Christian. When he goes out to properties and he's not able to educate the folks, make the changes needed, we end up with those animals in our program. We also allow some surrenders if it's a situation where we can tell the animals are going to be better off, the people are going to be better off if they surrender those farm animals.
All right, Candice, tell us about this animal.
Hi, so I have Fiji here. She is a young hen. We believe she's a barred rock. Her and her 6 other siblings came to us as very young little chicks. She could very easily fit in my hand, and you've seen she's grown very much. She still has a lot of growing to go. She's only about half grown, but she's very sweet. She loves this special time out. You say she's trying to say hi. She's very excited.
Now, Candice, it looks like she has, fingernails.
Yeah.
Does she? Do you clip these?
So we actually don't have to clip these. chickens love to scratch around in the ground to look for bugs and grass and things like that. So they actually use those to find food. But yeah, she's got nails on every single one of her toes.
And this little girl and the other animals are also available for adoption. So if you go to our website under other animals, you can view the horses, the pigs, the chickens, the ducks that we have available at any given time. We're always looking for more support, whether that's volunteering or donations. Our barn program is always growing. There's always a need for help. Like I said, we're the only one in Northeast Ohio that does this. We also help agencies in other counties that end up with these animals. So even the Cleveland APL, they end up with a rooster. They have to keep them in a dog kennel. They transfer them to us so that we can help and find them a home in a more rural area where they belong.
Now, Candice, is this rooster the one that will wake me up at 4:30 in the morning?
So this is actually a hen. So she makes really sweet little noises. The roosters, however, around dusk and dawn and throughout the day will crow. That's very normal. That's a part of being a rooster. So you do want to make sure with your area you are allowed to have the roosters. Some love that noise. Others may not enjoy it as much near dawn.
Now, what's the difference between a rooster and a hen, for those of us that might not know?
So a hen is a female chicken. So she'll lay eggs when she's older, for example. A rooster is a male chicken. So he's the one that'll crow at dusk and dawn. He follows around the other chickens. So mainly the difference is, male versus female, as well as their egg laying abilities.
Now, speaking of eggs, we at Rescue Village feel strongly that not eating animals is important. And I know we have two diehard vegetarians standing here. So would you eat the eggs? Does either of you eat eggs as you're vegan vegetarians? Do you eat eggs?
I choose not to, but I completely understand that many people, that's a way of life for them if they're raising chickens and using the eggs as a byproduct. Again, I choose not to. We will adopt out to folks that want to harvest eggs from their chickens. We just won't adopt out to families that want to eat the chickens themselves. So having a backyard farm is much more sustainable for the planet and our community than buying from the grocery store. So completely understandable. But we also kind of want to share this planet with these animals that we love.
And that goes for the pigs also, right? We don't adopt out to families that want to eat them.
That's correct. These are just for companion animals or barnyard or farm friends.
Okay. All right. Thank you, ladies.
You're very welcome.
Fiji, that's this creature's name again? Yeah, thank you, Fiji.
Can you say bye to everyone?
She says bye-bye. All right, and I'm seeing, it looks like, did Gunther get adopted? No. Okay. No, Gunther did not get adopted. Never mind. But while we're talking about adoption, don't forget you can always click on the links that are on your page if you want to adopt anybody or if you want to make a donation. Oh. All right. I misread my cue card. All right, we are here to thank everybody for tuning in today and for all the support that we've gotten from this amazing village. Thank you all so much. Let's all wave goodbye.